All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our meeting tonight. We're going to go ahead and get started. It is 5:30, and let's go ahead and do our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Tammy, we're gonna notice that we have all 5 board members here. And now, my favorite part, we're gonna turn this over to Dr. Hoff.
I can't wait. So hang up on the screen, you'll see the plan for tonight. So it will really be broken into two main sections. The first are board goals, review, discussion, and update, where we'll kind of look at the board goals, talk about how we want to adjust those for next year. And then the second piece will be around board operations and logistics for the upcoming year, just making sure everyone's in line with trainings and whatnot. A couple new changes as well. So, but before we do all that, we're gonna start our board work session with our board doing a little work. So you have a notepad on your table. We've got 2 reflection questions, and they are required. Don't know if I can do this, but okay. So for a quick opener, we'll take 3 minutes. Your 2 questions are: why did you join the school board? What are you most proud of from the 25-26 school year? 2 questions. Give you about 3-4 minutes to write, and you will be sharing these. Think about 30 more seconds. All right. I believe I saw Mr. Cooper put his pencil down first. So do you want to start us off?
Well, questions.
Yeah, let's start with Will.
So I joined the school board in 2009 because the school board district was in trouble, leadership wise, financially, and credibility wise. And I felt the need to try and step up to try and bring it back to normal. So that would be why I'm still on the school board, ironically. And my proudest accomplishment in 26-27 was guiding Joel Hoff into a soft landing as superintendent in spite of himself.
Wow,
Appreciate that. Thank you, Scott.
very nice.
Kevin, you want to go next?
Sure. Thought I might be able to add some insight into alternative education and advocate for CPE programs. And then, what am I most proud of, aside from the fundraisers, which was the best
That's awesome.
thing I did,
That is awesome.
just participating in a lot of activities.
I love that. Kelsey?
Okay, I think two quick reasons, number one, I think having been married to a counselor for 3 years. I mean, you can see, I can always see like when he's had to do an abuse report or a suicide spree and. So, and that's just his story, but I know everybody who works here like has other stories, and so I feel like if. People in our community are gonna step into the kind of front line of. You know, working with the kiddos in this way, I think I wanted to make sure there was a system to support them. And I wanted my boys to learn that leadership is an active service and it's gifts. And what I'm most proud of, and Bree, I don't want to steal your thunder because this is actually your output, but I'm really proud of the dashboard, and not just the dashboard, but just the organizational rigor that we're starting out around it, and being able to use the maturity of being able to use data versus emotions or perception or politics.
That's awesome. Thanks, Kelsey.
Not to steal your thunder.
Eric, what do you think?
I joined the school board mostly because at one time I had a big mouth and made a public comments as a peer pressure. But it was also because similar reasons I thought there was a lot of potential and I thought I needed to make my voice heard. So that's why I joined. For what I'm most proud of, though, I really liked the feeling of increased collaboration and enthusiasm, not just with the board and the admin, but the teachers, like talking to them, because I have a lot that I talk to in the community, and just their enthusiasm to boost student success. And it's reflected in the students too that you interact with.
Really good. Board Chair, Jen Knight, what do you think?
Why did I join the school board? To make a positive difference in our school district. Leave it at that. And most proud of in 25-26 would be to see the growth that our district has made, to see the growth our board has made, and to see our leadership take the district to the new levels it's going.
Love that. And it's a perfect segue. Because when we talk about the board, the district leadership, I forget, it might have been Scott. Someone was like, why are we calling this a retreat? This is not a retreat. So what's the purpose of our board work session / retreat? And one of the biggest things, and kind of touching on what you said, is strengthen board and district alignment. And when we think over the last year, we kind of aligned around many things, but in individual conversations, formally, informally, one of the things that we really wanted to get this district back to was putting students first. And as I was going through preparing, I look at each one of these pictures, and what's really cool is in your own way, you know, Scott's there with, I think that's maybe a kindergartner reading. We got Jen going into a CTE classroom. Eric behind doing dishes after, I think that was a Thanksgiving Day meal. Kevin, I had to find a picture of Kevin with oranges because he was very innovative in how he gave oranges to students. And then finally, Kelsey, and I tried to get a picture of something to do with math, but this is Kelsey out in classrooms working with students, and kind of in your each and own way. I think we've all kind of bought into that, and that's what's really gotten our district back on track. Is we're not looking at politics, we're not looking at whatever agenda it is. We're looking at what's best for student in every decision we make. So with that, I'm incredibly thankful. And then I also wanted to remind us, just as we're back again on a smoky Monday night, the stakes are really high. We've seen this district dysfunctional. When the board isn't aligned with the district, when the district's not aligned with the board, when the board's not aligned with each other. And we saw what that did to one, our schools, and two, our community. So this work around, you know, and I know it's probably your third meeting of the month, but this work around alignment and a check-in and setting the goals and the vision for the year is so important, and the stakes are high. So yeah, that's essentially what we're here to do. We're here to take that next step in refining our goals and visions. And the board is the representatives of the community for our schools. That's why you were elected, was to be the voice of the community for our schools. So making sure that our goals align with that, and that you guys are stewarding these goals and saying, hey, have you thought about this? What are we missing? So I think Kevin might be the only one who hasn't gone through this full process, maybe. But actually, you joined right around July. Okay, so this is a reminder for everyone. So at July, at this meeting, we talk about our goals, how we want to refine them. Then we come back at our regular August meeting, and you guys will vote to make them the official goals. Then, like you've seen, Kelsey mentioned the dashboard. Trimester 1, 2, and 3, we report on the progress of those goals. And this is one thing you guys might not realize throughout the year, I write down as we have our one-on-one check-ins, as we're talking through things. For example, like math, hey, we need to really focus on math. And I'll write that down and be like, hey, next time we're revising these goals, let's get a goal around math in there. So, and then I take all that, and that's where I created, and I put this in an email on Friday to you all, but here is a draft. What we will be looking to refine and get aligned on as we go into next year. As those come around, what I base these on, first of all, the priorities, the focus, our conversations, our discussions throughout the year. Then, as I've talked to a lot of you about, one of our themes, our main theme with our administrators is how do we go from good to great? And I feel we went from, man, this district is in shambles, Scott's sticking around to help us out, to, hey, we're back on track. We're at a good place. But one thing I've also talked to you all about is not being content, that we always want to be pushing of, well, what does that next level look like? So I asked that question, what does going from good to great look like in each of our buckets? And then you'll see after each of these, some of our goals actually that worked out being interesting. About a third of them are not changed. Like we're not done working on academic achievement. So you'll see some that are unchanged. Some goals we consolidated, we updated. You'll see those a little orange tag. And then some were new goals. And those were based on what I heard from you guys of, hey, we need to focus on this as we go into next year. As well as the ODE, as our dear friends at the ODE do, they have a new initiative with 8 new accountability measures. Those are all embedded in this, and they're all things we were already measuring. K-2 attendance, regular attendance, 3rd grade reading, 8th grade math, freshman on track, graduation rates. So we embedded those in there as well. So with that, structure-wise, my thought is let's look at the yellow bucket. And we'll just go through and I'll explain kind of at least the thinking on here. And again, this is just a discussion and this is where we do make refinements. We'll just go through the kind of section as the board has feedback or any changes. This is the time to do that. So starting at goal 1.1, that one remains unchanged. That's our basic academic achievement goal. Increase student academic achievement in reading, writing, math, science, and social studies as measured by nationally normed assessments. We report those on the dashboard, fall, winter, spring. Goal 1.2, we actually updated just a little bit. It's by one word. Can anyone catch the word we added for goal 1.2?
Ethically?
Ethically. If you think of, interestingly, AI, when we set these goals last year, AI has improved dramatically over a year. And there's this whole thing of ethics, and we ran into that with staff, with students. So we wanted to add that ethics component of teaching kids and staff how to use it ethically. Eric's going to do a number of PD sessions throughout that. So that was 1.3. This has more of a substantive change. Reduce achievement gaps among key student groups through the use of assessment data and targeted intervention. If you remember, our goal that updated was we were looking at gender. We saw male and female differences. As the years gone, we've also asked, how are homeless students doing? How are economically disadvantaged? So we said, what if we still include gender, but we also disaggregate data for other key groups as well, as that's something I've heard from the board being interested in. So that's the update there. 1.4, improve horizontal and vertical alignment. That one is not changed at all. We still need the horizontal support. We've actually done really, really well of aligning our elementaries. that that vertical alignment, we think we still have a lot of work to do. So that's something Bree was gonna work with the elementary coaches on, this year as well. Then this is a new one for Kelsey Swig. Increase the percentage of 612 students enrolled in advanced mathematic pathways, specifically algebra 2 and beyond. That's something we heard, I think we did probably 2 or 3 board presentations around what are those advanced pathways? And don't worry, I'll get to our yellow zone middle school, but we report out on the percentage of a class, a graduating cohort that was algebra 2 or higher. I've heard the goal of 85%, I think was
Was it 95?
we can put it wherever.
It's moving.
So, but yeah, that's something that we haven't reported on, and that's something I heard from the board as a priority of those advanced pathways. So, the proposal is, let's put that goal in and add that to the dashboard. All right, we went through our first section, 1 through 5. Any questions on those? Any feedback?
Joel, will we be adding like metrics behind, I mean, I'd say tongue in cheek, 85, you know, it's like.
Yeah, so if you think about the dashboard, so we set these goals without numbers. But then on the actual dashboard, that's where we put in the measure, like I think Scott said 75% iReady.
Right.
This idea around 85-90% algebra 2. So on the dashboard is where you set the metrics, but.
Yeah.
I
think that's personally what I'd love to see is us to agree on. Those goals, so it feels like we're in alignment.
for sure.
But that looks like our result.
Yeah.
And okay.
I was just gonna say, so the one that definitely sticks out that goes in this is the metric around 75% proficiency on iReady. We talked about that at the board meeting. And then I heard we've said 85 to 90.
85,
We'll start with 85 as a metric for
what
the.
is it right now, like 82 or something?
It was right around there, and then I think at one point you and I looked at what national norms are, and it was right around 85. So that's, at least as this would be a new goal, it's kind of a good starting point for us to see where we're at and how high we can get it up to.
I think you need to wordsmith number 1.2 a little bit more. All for the integration of AI, but I think it needs something, and I'll get funky with it here. On the end, it says something like, while retaining human-centered learning as a primary instructional goal.
Like
I
that.
think you have to say what you don't, well, what you want. We don't want to erode the human-centered.
Yeah,
Or you might get in trouble.
And I think the part about that too is, and this had said it, but maybe it needs to be a little bit more explicit, but to me, it's part of doing it responsibly is you actually learn how to do it. Like
yeah,
well, from a staff perspective and a student perspective.
yeah, for sure. We'll have got my AI expert on my left side. We'll work with that. And I think keeping that human-centered is something that families and community will really appreciate as well. So.
The other one I wanted to ask about was 1.5. Why are we measuring this for enrollment versus passing or completing?
We haven't looked too deeply. So the idea of what we were going to measure was you take a cohort, class of 2026, what percentage of that cohort made it past algebra 2 or higher? So you're saying do raw numbers?
Just use the word enrolled to the word completing.
Completing, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see
The
what
goal
you're
is
saying.
for them to finish it, not to sign up for it.
I see where you're going at. Yes, and I agree completely.
Don't make it more complicated.
Yes, we don't want kids just to enroll. We want them to pass.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think we talked about too on the last meeting, having the year-over-year cohort improvement of the yellow will move to green, you know, and tracking cohort improvement.
Yeah, we have,
Was that
that, so
smart?
1.14, we'll get to that one.
Oh,
And
you're
we
right,
have
you're right.
the,
I'm sorry. I got it too excited.
Hey, there's more goals to come. Cool, we'll get there. Anything else in that first section?
This is the last thing I'll say, though, too, is I think like from a meta perspective, it's like all these goals matter because it is ultimately around workforce preparation, right? Like the math matters because it's not just about like. College, it's about lots of trade schools want it, you know, the AI is just like, these are
Yeah,
skills that people need
yeah.
to be.
It almost goes complete where you're at. One thing I forgot to mention is if you look at the title of the yellow box, I'm proposing an update there. It was academic excellence, support and intervention or something like that. I changed that to academic greatness for every student, because I wanted to emphasize that every student piece, because that's something I've heard from this board over and over again is every student has a different pathway, a different goal, a different measure of success. So I wanted to change that and I liked putting in greatness in there because that whole good to great. So it kind of gets, Kelsey, I can kind of mess around and see if I can get some sort of work. But I think you're absolutely right. The whole reason for these goals is produce productive citizens that can go and get a job. So, yeah. Hey, let's jump to 1.6, and this is
One thing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was going through some stuff a week or two ago. I know, at one point you had, a survey for the students about what courses.
Yeah,
One that stood out to me, and I wish I knew more what they were asking when they said real world math.
yeah. Talked about that.
We did.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we,
So what we've,
what,
It wasn't what I thought, let me tell you that.
yeah,
Uh-huh,
well.
yeah.
that's-
What is that then?
Yeah. what
So,
is-
Statistics, even though you don't want to admit it.
yeah, what Jen and I talked about and how I interpreted that, but it's something worth going back to the students to say, tell us more. We used to offer, and I don't think we do anymore, a class called Geometry in Construction. So students were learning, their math concepts, but it was all through real world application. There's currently business math, where it's more practical skills. So
Like,
more how to calculate a mortgage, car loans, like real world applied mathematics is another term for it. But I think we want to go back to our students to say, what exactly do you mean by this?
yeah, I'm just curious, it could be as simple as I struggle reading a tape measure.
Yeah, totally.
Do we have any classes besides, the carpentry classes, that are teaching kids how to read a tape measure?
Or
Yeah.
maybe, basic cash.
Yes.
Cash-based accounting,
Yeah,
if you're
totally.
running your own business.
Yeah. So we'll.
I'm just curious,
Yeah.
I'd like to hear more from them about what
Yeah,
did they mean?
Yeah.
What group of students? Was it all of them? Was it
exactly.
specifically the CTE students who put
Yeah.
that?
And it goes, it's an.
Or was it the alt-ed kids saying, hey, I'm working at McDonald's, I'm having trouble counting change?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, that's something that we definitely can dig deeper in, because I think it's the right question to be asking.
Or I go to the
especially-
store and it says 20% off and I'm not sure
Yeah,
what
how do I
twenty
figure that
percent,
out?
yeah.
That's how I interpreted real world math, and we think like, that's a great skills for our students. So where does that fit in?
Yeah, it seems to me they had that pretty high on the list.
Yeah.
And we should address it in goal.
For sure. Good. Great catch, Kevin. Anything else on that top section? Let's jump to 1.6, which is completely new, but something that the board has heard before. So we have 3 huge areas that we identified through the dashboard as needing improvement. One was math, one was writing, and one was special education. So we've crafted huge improvement plans that we're implementing this year. So I thought it would be important that we have a goal like, hey, we're going to implement these improvement plans. So that way that we're regularly keeping the board in the loop. So that's 1.6. 1.7 and 1.8 are unchanged. That's our CTE goal. We want to continue to track those industry certifications. I know that's a priority for pretty much every board member, as well as continue to enhance the quality of the Crook County School District Performing Arts Program. We actually have some good momentum here. We've got a drum line coming. I think Bree worked with the donor to get a $25,000 grant. So we just hired a new choir teacher who's apparently also a football coach or was a football. So we've got some good
Will our
momentum.
football team sing now?
It reminds me of the show Glee a little bit where you.
Yeah, good.
So those ones remain unchanged. We'll continue to track those. 1.9, we updated, revitalized the CCSD tag program. and expand advanced learning opportunities at all grade levels. That was kind of a previous goal. What we've added said including AP, dual credit, and then we added associate degree pathways. That's one thing that we've heard from families is very, very important and something that's really helping students. So we wanted to make sure we continue to capture that in our goals. It's 1.9. 1.10. This is interesting. So this one also is updated. Expand services, opportunities, and credentials is a new world, or new word, credential pathways for English language learners, while strengthening partnerships with multilingual families. That's not just me playing soccer with these families on Thursdays in the winter. That credential part goes to the OD metrics that we're talking about, that we were able to choose from a list of which one of these would be the most impactful. And there's something that ODE offers that's a skill of biliteracy that we as a district have never really jumped into, that we think would be such a great way to really equip our Spanish speaking students with an additional credential to go out in the world and get a high paying job. So we added that credential and we'll report on that to the board. So skill of biliteracy just means you've passed a certain level of, in our case, Spanish. But then, and also we've talked about what other foreign languages we can offer. So we thought kind of bolstering that goal would align with what the board was thinking. Any questions around that?
Oh, I was just thinking, in an ideal world, it'd be like really cool to put like the Spanish kiddos trying to get that credential together with the English speakers of trying to get that credentials, and then
Yes.
it could be like
Yeah.
this is cross learning.
Yeah. I just love the idea of like our district getting good at this and us being a model of that exact sort of concept of, because people don't realize this, we are about 30% non-Caucasian students. So it's like, there's a great opportunity for us to be a leader in this. The next one, 1.11, strengthen students, programs at the key grade level transitions. This is one thing I talked about where we still feel we have some work to do here. We've made some progress, but we didn't want to change that. And then 1.12 is kind of new, kind of a combination of our previous personal finance goal. We said prioritize civics and personal finance education to prepare students for informed citizenship, financial responsibility, and success after graduation. We were able to dig into our personal finance curriculum last year and said, oh, we actually are doing some things that we're really proud of. We have a few minor updates. And then as we got to the end of the year, we realized we weren't really honoring the civics scores. That was something from a previous board, where students, when they graduate, if they pass a certain civics test, they get an extra core at graduation. That's something we want to like highlight and bring more attention to. So we wanted to put that in the board goal so that we're reporting it, tracking it, reporting to the board, because I think that actually that whole informed citizenship is a big thing in our community, and it should be. So we want to make sure that is memorialized in the board goals.
As part of that civics, does it include curriculum around how to be an informed advocate? Like,
You know, I haven't looked at the actual assessment they give. I'm assuming that is in the social studies standards. That to get the honor cord, you have to pass an assessment. I think it's your senior year. You get your chance junior and senior year. And it's based on just, I think, basic civics understanding, which is what we want to show our community we're preparing our students for.
yeah, the question behind the question though too is as we prepare for the bond, it's like in engaging the students and having them have a voice, but also an education around if us as a community recognize that's something needs to get done, here's a productive way to participate in that. And not just post about it on social media.
Yeah, and we can dig some more information, but I think that's very valid.
The civics board was created specifically to answer a specific criticism that we were receiving. The students don't know what the Constitution is, students don't know what the Declaration is, they don't even know what the three branches of government are. None of that was coming very specific to one group of people, as well as a theme in national media. And so we kind of got competitive on that and said, we're going to be able to quantifiably demonstrate that our kids do know their stuff because they've taken the exam and they've proven it. They want to wrap a cord around their neck to prove it. And it really has worked.
Yeah, and I think the district, we just haven't done a great job of telling our community, like, hey, we're doing this every year. And here's the percentage of students that are getting this cord. So thought it'd be good to put in the board goals.
for 1.9, the tag program.
Yeah.
Is there a way that we could have a kick out with just data? Like specifically third grade state testing, and that's the year they start, but maybe even before that.
Yeah.
Or, cause the weakness there that I've seen is relying on the teachers to identify the kids. And especially if you get like a new teacher that's hesitant, or the teacher in general that's hesitant. I'd rather just have it be database where the kids just get, hey, you're highlighted, let's give you a little quiz here.
Eric, I have good news for you. Okay, I think it's called the McGarry. So we're doing something new that we've never done.
Yeah.
It'll start next year. So every October, we're gonna give, again, don't quote me on this name. The new McGarry is an assessment that every second grader will take. And it's like a 10-minute assessment, but it's that screener tool so that it's not relying on a teacher, it's a data informed decision. So we'll report out on that. They take that in October. But yeah, one of many measures. We don't want kids to fall through the cracks, you know, so yeah, good catch. Any other thing on this section before we move on?
I have several edits to it. I'd start with the reference in 1.6 to special education. It feels dismissive. Just stick it in there with mathematics and writing and call it a program.
Yeah.
And the considerable angst we have experienced within the staff about that.
Yeah.
And the significance of that population and the upcoming legislative debate about it, it needs its own goal. Too, because it kind of needs a run and roll reform.
Yeah.
To get us out of some soup. So I'd say that one. I'm worried about 1.8. It doesn't feel ambitious enough. The quality of the performing arts. What, you know, like the music better when you go to the kitty concert this year? Can we not reach for the stars and say something like, I don't know, best in region? We're gonna have at least one program which is best in region, best in state, world class, whatever language you want to use. Something a little more aspirational than we hope it's better going.
Sounds like you're the theme of good to great. Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Reach.
make it great.
And then the last one was, why are we not talking about the associative science transfer degree? And adding that,
We are, yeah.
I know, but it
We're
didn't show up.
That's in the we said associate degree pathways, meaning there's the AAOT, AAST. We've looked at all of them. You
We add the language for
all
ASD
outlined.
in there. We've talked about it enough,
Certainly have.
and I think everything's on track to add it. I think there's any.
There was, and there was another one that it was in working with CEO, and Dr. Van Rokel did most of the work. There's like an AAST, there's a couple different versions of that, right?
Yeah, I think when we spoke with COCC, it was more about identify the student early, sophomore, junior year, and then partner with COCC to make sure that they're fulfilling whatever pathway it is. So that way, if they want to specialize in biochemistry, we'll work with COCC to get them those classes.
Because I think it'll be more than just AAOT
Oh,
and
that's great.
AAST.
I name them all. That is a huge program for us. Other people cannot believe we are doing this, and we explain it to them. It's really a big deal, and we should take full opportunity and credit.
And I think I shared with the board, I shared with the board a letter we got from a family of a student who had just graduated. The family calculated it saved them, I want to say $79,000 just by what they were able to do at Crook County High School. And as we add these classes, the AAOT, the AST, what happens is that students aren't able to take every single one of those at the high school. But we're having them take it as a online class outside of the regular day, so that way it works. It gets too complicated with scheduling, where you can't offer it all, but if we allow them to take it online or in the summer, then they still can take the classes they need at the high school and then kind of piece together on their own, so.
And I'll just add one more thing. What I loved when we met with Susie, she said, I asked her, are other schools in the region, like, what are they doing for this? And she said, well, they'll say, oh, we have this kid that's a class away and we'll make sure they get their AAOT upon graduation. But you guys are different in Crook County because you're going out and saying, here's an opportunity. Who wants it?
Right.
And giving that to every single student. So she's really excited about what we're doing. I think it's going to continue to grow as more and more students are led through the pathway and get that exposure early on with their families. So yeah, I was really excited.
It's gonna cause Ben Lapine to lose its mind, and that's fine.
Well, that's made it quite to the goals.
I looked up, COCCs because another in that, student, report was expanding the fire science. So I looked up COCC's, fire science program, AA. I'm not so sure what those kids went through, would have to add up the hours, wouldn't apply to some credits.
Oh, I'm sure it would.
Well, I know it applies, but whether we could talk the,
Yeah,
college into saying, is this worth 2 or 3 credits
yeah.
upon completion?
What's awesome that's come from this, because it's been a little clunky, like this is the second year that we've offered AOT, went from 4 students to 8 students. And because of the clunkiness, working with Bree and the high school admin and counseling team, they're totally revitalizing the system for next year, where they weren't really connected with COCC till the very, very end, and it made messy. So COCC Prineville is willing to start meeting with these kids their sophomore year. So that we're really proud to say, like, leading the charge, leading the region in this. And again, we're at a doubling rate, and I don't think it's absurd to have 16 next year. So we're in really good shape on this. And it's something we still need to clean up a little bit, scheduling stuff, but it's something we really should be proud of. I mean, districts like, just Mr. Cooper's point, Ben's 10 times our size, and we're pumping out as many as I think they are at this point. So it's something to really be proud of.
They're almost like,
In good shape.
I also think along those lines, just real quick, is, students are actually learning that, wait, I can do it this way.
Yeah.
And they're getting like their, word of mouth and different things of, I can do this. This is a pathway I can go. And I think the earlier, like you said, the earlier we're getting them, they're like, wait, if I get all this
Yeah.
at the end of my high school, I can have this.
Yeah.
I think it's just
Good
like the
deal.
light bulb moment of, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Like I can go as far as I want,
Yeah.
they've opened up so many avenues. And so I'm excited to, when you said that, 4, 8, and 16, I was like, I have a pretty hefty goal for
Keep
that
going.
one.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Because the more that they know, the more that they can take advantage of it. And if their families know, like sometimes the students don't necessarily know, but if their families know and their parents are like, hey, Scott, I need you to, this is what you want to do. I need you to be taking these kind of classes. And, I think if everybody's got buy-in and it's a program that's been working and Susie's willing to like, hey, what else can we do? How else can we help?
I think it almost makes sense to like, for each year that's going through it, to have almost like I don't know if it's like social media, but some kind of like cohort where,
Oh, I like that.
because
Yeah.
of like what you're talking, when you start normalizing it, when you're like,
Yeah.
like when I went through my grad program, we went as a cohort, so it's just like, you're in
Yeah,
it
here's-
together and,
Yeah,
running towards the goal.
really good idea.
What was I remember earlier this year, there was a student, we had like 1 or 2 that had first time ever gotten like a performing arts. Was it an award or something?
Did have something. It's a good question.
And what I'm getting at with this is, we want to strengthen the performing arts. And we have like our AA, which is kind of just generic.
Yeah.
People use that as a building block, but I want like some kind of specific certification, award, or accomplishment
Yeah.
that the kids that want to focus on either art or drama or something along those lines can be like, hey, I want to aim for that.
Totally. And it gets to Scott's point around going from, an ambitious goal is. In the past, we've just reported, hey, here's how many students are involved in a performing arts class, where it's like, that doesn't take us to the next level. So yeah, figuring out what that metric is, so we can work with Nathaniel and then our choir teacher and Jacob Schuler. Because we are positioned well to take our performing arts to the next level heading into next year. So
we know what it feels like to strive for a state championship in athletics. We should be able to do the same.
Yeah.
Something equivalent.
yeah, it's a good.
And we've done polling here.
I mean, I know what it means to compete. We're gonna compete.
Hey, I only got
One other quick one,
Yeah.
Joel. I thought you mentioned the last board meeting that you were doing something to expand access to foreign language.
Yeah,
Online.
yeah.
That would be an easy one to pick up.
Yeah.
Already have it in place.
Yeah,
And it was a requested one from the students, as I recall.
yeah.
Was responsive to their ask.
I'll get something in foreign language there, because, yeah, we've just essentially offered Spanish for 99.8% of students.
Right.
And then if anyone asks, we say, oh, yeah, we got French online, but it'd be cool to really open that up and market that more,
Got
so.
all the online options
Yeah.
already there.
We'll say, I do know what it takes to get a state championship for marching band, but unfortunately you need about 3 or 4 teachers.
We're gonna start with the drum.
Drumline's one of them. Marching's another.
And we'll have volunteer coaches.
Anybody
Sounds like
signs
you
up
could
one
be-
of my children for drumline, fire. Or other
People
people's
children
children.
down to the 7th grade level, yeah.
Oh.
it's,
We're going to give your children a violin.
Okay, we got 2 more proposed in our yellow box, our academic greatness, so 1.13. And this is just an update, ensure every 9-12 student annually participates in a one-on-one planning meeting to develop and update a comprehensive, structured academic and career pathway aligned to their interests and post-secondary goals. This is an update from, we were really focused on early graduation last year and these structured pathways, making sure every kid has a meeting on a pathway, so that just updates the word. It might be a run-on sentence, there's a lot there, but that's the intent of that wording. And then 1.14 is actually probably what I'm most excited about, and it goes to the board's discussion out in Brothers around the middle zone and the yellow zone. So implement a district-wide K-12 support system that identifies student in the yellow zone and ensures they, as well as a CCS student, receives timely, targeted, appropriate resources and ongoing progress monitoring to accelerate learning. So we developed, Dr. Van Rokel developed a tracking zone. We'd always had one for the high school level, kind of expanded it for K-8. And then we didn't do a ton with it. You know, we identified the students, we reported to the board, here's how many. Our plan for next year, like we talked about in Brothers, is after every trimester, we sit down with every principal, go through their kid and say, what is the plan for this yellow zone, for this middle student? Because we've got the tag, we've got the AP for our high achieving students, we've got the title and the IEP services for our red zone. And the yellow has just been this kind of forgotten middle that
middle child.
probably, yeah, and I mean, looking at our data, it probably represents 40 to 50% to 60% of our students. So like, this will allow us to provide some accountability systems of what is going on for these students, what do they need and how can we help them? So that's the thinking behind those two, yeah.
I haven't asked for this. I would love for Eric to take a look at this one and see where AI, and I know it's hard with student data, but there's a lot of new use cases coming out around this. To do this, just to take some of the administrative tasks off of
Yeah.
teachers and counselors, but then I think secondly, it's setting up our databases or our trackers in a way where we can start running like complex inquiries around understanding themes and
Yes.
different things. And so I would like to see in it, we probably can't automate all of it, but I think there's probably some stuff that could be.
Definitely some efficiencies for sure. Yeah. We'll get that. Kevin, you got something?
No, I'm just thinking,
I think they too.
Any other?
it's not gonna be an easy one to tackle,
No, and it's.
that's for sure.
But when I look at like what the next step for the district, we've done a ton to improve the green, make sure we have service for the red. We've left, not intentionally, you know, you gotta focus somewhere, but we've got some work to do in the yellow, and I think this gets us there and something that we'll be reporting regularly forward. Mr. Cooper,
Can we get some words somewhere in the yellow box, probably just ended one of the existing ones, about summer school and its importance?
Yeah.
Like 111, maybe,
yeah,
something in there.
yeah,
Big
Scott.
students for including summer school.
Yeah, maybe we do it by, because you know how like at the end of each of the years, it's like, oh, all these kids are great, and then they fall down. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
maybe it's like summer interventions to make
Stop
sure.
for summer slide,
This what's the summer slide.
yeah, something. It's important, and I think it's important, the board stated support for it, especially if the program's in danger. The governor did come out and say she was
you want to,
gonna have
Because the data, to your point, it's because the data's there that keeping kids engaged through the summer.
It's gonna do half the emergency fund.
What you said.
The governor came out last week and said she was gonna cap the emergency fund to fund summer school. Immediately got attacked by the union saying you should put it into basic compensation. And so who knows how that plays out now. Hey, there might be resources on the ways.
At that summer school, and that's huge, and that's been expensive, but a great, that effect is so good for, I mean, I think of all these families out there that for the last 4 weeks are sending their kids to our schools, learning,
Me.
having them. The Hoff kids are there, having a blast, learning about the ocean and come home excited about school. Anything else for the yellow box? That's the thickest one, so if we're through that.
But I think that's a good point, Scott, and I agree with that.
Hey, let's jump down to building bridges. I didn't change the name because I love saying building bridges. Got a good flow to it. I think we did well with it last year.
Building's better than burning.
Definitely, I've seen both. We prefer to build bridges.
And you kept stakeholder in there too.
All right, 2.1, this just gets back to our communication with families. The biggest thing, I think Kelsey and Eric served on the Building Bridges Committee. Parents want academic information. How's my kids reading? How's my kids math? How can I help at home? So we just strengthened the language around providing meaningful updates on students' academic progress, classroom learning, and we did leave in school events, but focus on like, hey, it's great to know we're carving pumpkins on Friday, but how's my kid doing with multiplication? You know, so making sure we're getting academic communication. 2.2, so this is an update. We had this kind of rolled a couple goals together. The board last year had a family steering committee, a staff steering committee, and like listening to students. Those actually went well. Towards the end of the year, we only had staff weren't showing up unless it was specific for them. Like we had a great turnout for the SPED committee. So how we kind of rolled those together was foster a culture of engagement and transparency through regularly seeking and incorporating feedback from students, staff, and families into district's decisions making. So that way, you know, we're collecting feedback from students through a variety of ways. Surveys, we're going there once a month. Principals are doing listening sessions. Families, you know, we have our surveys, and then staff, we have a number of work groups. We found that's more impactful than just having a general one. So we rolled that all together. 2.3, last year, and this was actually a really positive thing I felt. We established these parent square groups for people that weren't parents, that they could still get district information. So we set that foundation. We started 3, I think, general district information, athletics, and CTE. We need to keep that in there. I think I added the word strengthen or increase. We have to get more use out of those. I think there is a real purpose for them. We just didn't see them very, very well used, and we didn't post enough. We were just kind of getting it started. So we're going to keep that in there and keep pushing on that. 2.4, this one we rolled together 2 things as well. This is about providing comprehensive stakeholder engagement opportunities around our policies. So whenever we have a new policy, making sure they're posted online, we tell the board we haven't been getting much feedback, but it's still important that we give that opportunity, as well as we have curriculum adoption. So making sure that we have clear stakeholder engagement in those. Then 2.5 is interesting. If you remember last year, we had a goal around increased secondary school conferences. And after trying to improve secondary conferences for a decade, I think it maybe was Scott said, what are we doing?
Maybe pushing the rock up the hill.
So when we worked with Mr. Huffman, because even at the middle school, it's still probably like 80%. It's just at the high school, it drops to 10%. And when you think about it, parents, so what we started to do last spring is in every newsletter, Mr. Huffman would say, if you require assistance or want to meet with a teacher, click this link and we'll set up a conference. So especially at our high school, rather than having these 2 days out of a year that you can come and talk to a teacher, it's like those teachers will meet with you whenever. So just strengthening that system and communicating so that when those high school parents have an issue, they know they can go directly to the teacher. They don't have to wait till April. They can just, hey, here's the process to schedule a meeting. So that's the thinking around there, and then we report that. And then another metric on that one that we've seen, the high school has seen success with is on those conference day, we'll still allow conferences for parents, because that is still a valuable thing for 10% of families or so. But our teachers will be making direct phone calls to families, because we heard, I want to say Kelsey and Eric in our building bridge on that. It's getting those immediate phone calls. Hey, here's how your kid's doing. Your kid's doing great, or your kid needs help here. That was really meaningful to our family. So that's how we kind of shifted that. Any questions on that section, 2.1 through 2.5? Let's go to our community collaboration. 2.6, that's just updating. We had that long range facilities planning goal. That just updates it as we're working with the community, like I talked about, to shape those priorities over the next, summer, fall. So that's a new goal. Our partnership and collaboration with local businesses and education foundation, that remains unchanged. We're continuing, actually Hannah's done a great job of this, working with the Crook County Foundation, Crook County Foundation, where we've structured a whole new partnership with them, Wincar, their president. So working on a lot of things, but we don't want to give that one up. I think we keep that one unchanged. This might have been my favorite goal from last year, and it came from Eric Osborne. Expand the district's visible presence and involvement at community events. I still remember Kevin coming to the Patty Point and helping me serve chowder. This has been a ton of fun. We do donuts in the fall. We do a wrestling districts in the winter, donuts and coffee, and then we did the Patty Pint. And then we had all these jogathon, and I think Kevin gets the gold star. He came to
does.
just about everything,
He really does.
and it's a ton of fun.
I have a lot of free time.
Yeah. We've got the fair booth coming up. We have a booth at the fair here in a couple weeks. So the only thing that was updated there is instead of just visible presence, I said and involvement, because we are getting involved and actually being like participant. The Patty Pint at 40 is like, you guys got to come back. You got to bring more chowder. We ran out of chowder. Who would have thought at a 5K? Yeah.
That was in March though, right?
Yeah,
Because there's the turkey trot and things,
there's the.
in November.
We didn't have any involvement in the turkey trot. We'll see though.
And then there's the splash and dash.
If the turkey splash was that.
Splash and dash.
Chowder would be
Yeah.
wait a minute, the splash and dash?
July chowder.
I do the hospitality and splash and dash.
Okay.
They're well fed.
Okay, they're well fed.
Oh, goodness.
And then 2.9 is increased volunteer involvement. We want to continue to push. That's one of my biggest things. Another shout out to Kevin Bradley. He does the fun readers every Tuesday. Crooked River's done an awesome job, and it's expanded in each school. Bringing in more volunteers, that one-on-one reading with a student who might have to be read to at home is super important.
It's so entertaining.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's so,
I bet.
every Tuesday.
yeah, every Tuesday, no, yeah, every Tuesday.
It's pretty cool.
Question, do we still have, just lost my train of thought. That was quick.
Yes.
Okay, move on. Come back to me.
Mr. Cooper was giving me a look. Any-
Yeah, I have two suggestions. For 2.6, I would change the word updates to construction. I may update, we may do construct. I don't know what we're gonna do. Don't leave it out. And then on 2.8, as you expand this to visible presence and involvement, I suggest for maybe for this year, one of your goals is add students into that mix of representation. People want to see young people being respectful, presentable, and young people benefit from being around adults who are doing that. So I think we've seen some of our young people step up this year. Let's give them more opportunities to show off.
I was actually going to pull in the fair stuff with
Yeah.
you. I may revisit with you individually another time, but I do know a couple of adults that would also be willing to walk around the fair. Whether it's with a QR code and just talk to people, so. And you could loop kids into that as well, because there are kids that hang out there all week.
Yeah.
Give them a QR code.
Right. Give them 2 QR codes.
Yep.
Awesome. Hey, anything else on building bridges? God, we are flying. All right, let's go to our green box. And this I did change the name. So We were, and I think aptly named last year was Connected, Safe and Stable Schools, where we did just want to get to stable. But I thought in the good to great model, connected, safe and thriving schools. So, and this really comes down to, we've talked a lot about staff culture, staff and student culture, where we want to have schools where both our staff and students are thriving. So, that is the proposed language there. If you look 3.1 and 3.2, those are unchanged. And those are things that both of those goals, I felt we made really good progress on. The first one, ensure all 612 students are connected. I think we finished at what, 91% at the high school, 86% at the middle school. So we're getting there, but it'd be awesome to get both those mid-high 90s or all students. This next 3.3 is a continuation of the board goal. Elevate student voice in district decision-making through regular school board presentations with representation from traditional and non-traditional schools. This is one of my favorite parts of the year, was having Sophie and Kingston. So cool, and we want to continue that, and I think that next step, and we tried to get it going this past year, we got to get those non-traditional voices, right? So continuing to work with Michelle Jonas over at Pioneer, Michelle Jonas over at Grizzly Mountain Homelink, get those non-traditional, as well as we already have scheduled for the middle school leadership students to come in October. But yeah, making sure, even though it's great to have one student, because you can tell they kind of get in the rhythm of it, getting more student voice. So some work there. This next one, 3.4, this aligns with the ODE metrics, and is something I'm actually surprised we didn't have a goal on already. Improve student attendance by strengthening early warning system, attendance monitoring, and coordinated intervention support. So making sure we're bringing attendance information to you guys regularly.
I thought we worked on something for that.
We did give a couple attendance reports.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had updated a board policy a little over a year ago on that, and I've given some attendance data with every dashboard.
Yeah.
So it's very similar, but we talked about our idea to sort of split up the red and yellow zone
Okay.
interventions,
Yeah.
I'd say, for attendance. And I'm sure we'll see some alignment with the academics with that as well, so I'm obviously very excited about that work, so.
So yeah, we did have it, we even had it on the dashboard, even though we didn't have a goal
Right.
around it, just
Okay.
because it's important. 3.5, that one's just updated slightly to be phrased in the positive versus saying have anti-bullying campaigns. This is have campaigns that promote positive behavior. So, and we're looking to, again, like a lot of these, involve students more in the leadership of that. And then 3.6, this is something that the board, we did not talk about a lot last year, but was a miracle. Our bus system. There were very few outbreaks of significant issues on our bus. We implemented the iPads, the tablets where students scan in, and it remarkably, we had one incident where a student got off at a wrong stop, and it was actually because the student said the wrong name. So where in previously we'd have 6 to 10 of those. So this was a substantial improvement. But I don't want to lose focus of that, so I want to keep it as a goal.
Well, I do think you have a wordsmith a little bit.
Yeah.
Right now it's saying to implement safety procedures as if we don't have them. We do have them. We need to continue to
We don't
work.
need to
on them, but
implement
we
them.
gotta find a better verb than implement.
Yes, I
As
like
if we're
that.
starting from scratch.
Yeah,
If we are, then maybe we need to think about some other things.
yes, yes, but there's definitely a celebration there for improved systems, and credit to Lindsay Price, the transportation director. Yep, she came in and did the heavy lifting to get that in, and yeah, to our drivers as well, who are
You
getting
know, the
that.
other crazy thing is, like, knock on wood, but I didn't see a lot on like Facebook around bullying on the bus.
Very little. There were very few those social media threads, very few of those. I mean,
Because that always goes in.
we actually, I think I screenshotted it. I don't know if I sent it to the board. We actually had a positive one of like, I just have to sing the praises of my kid's bus driver. They care so much. So, so that's really, I don't know if we'll have that on the dashboard as a metric, but really cool to see people appreciating their bus drivers.
Well, and I have a goal for the board on this. Are you guys ready for this one?
I like this.
These are done.
Right.
But I wanna see each one of our faces on the school bus.
Bus.
On,
It's fun.
on our dashboard. I want each one of our little faces in the window.
I have, and I got behind on my slides. If you look at that top picture, that is Scott Cooper, I believe, yelling gleefully as he beat two students in rock, paper, scissors.
Seriously playing rock.
Are
Very
your feet in
important.
the alleyway?
Probably, I wrote several years in that.
Yes.
I was very, except for this one irritating second grader,
That meeting.
really good.
Uh-huh, yeah.
She was exceptional.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we'll update the language there and January, we'll stick with January because I think it aligns with some national thing. No, I think it's January. Ride the bus. No. I
You
just
made
made
this
it up. Guys, I made
Yeah.
up admin ride the bus model. And I think we did it in January.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Now you have to be consistent.
Yeah. It's definitely.
So it's gotta be in January then.
I think, well, it
I'll
was
take
coming
time
back.
off now for it, so I gotta get that day in.
The thinking behind it was coming back from winter break,
Yeah.
like having admin on the bus to really set that tone again and kind of reset
That
those
would be good.
expectations. Yeah.
After school lunch.
Understood.
Hey, jumping down, and I titled this language, or this next subcategory, thriving staff, because I feel that's so important that we have that as a goal is our staff thrive here at Crook County School District. So 3.7 is unchanged, but it's something we want to focus on. We heard on the staff survey, personalized notes. I'm gonna set a goal to write 5. No one will be able to read my handwriting, but 5 personal handwritten notes a week. And we'll try to track how many personal notes, because that's what we heard from staff is the most meaningful. This next one, 3.8, is just updated slightly, implement a comprehensive training program for all classified staff to build job-specific skills and support student success. Last year's goal was just on SPED IAs, but we heard from our bus drivers, we heard from various other classified staff like, hey, we want job-specific training, and we as a district want to pay them to get trained and be the best at the job. So updated that goal, and then strengthen 3.9, strengthen supports for students with behavioral needs through 1, relevant professional learning for staff, 2, responsive special education staffing, and then 3, align special education processes, and then finally 4, job embedded coaching. That was a big thing that we heard from staff as I was doing those SPED listening sessions, that they really missed that mentoring piece. So thank goodness for we budgeted some funds to bring in Holly Haskell to not only mentor special education teachers, but also IAs. We heard that they were not feeling like they had that they kept using the phrase someone to walk alongside them as they went through this. So excited to get that one going. Any questions on that section, thriving staff? Let's jump down to thriving district operations. 310, this is completely new. Strengthen school administration and district leadership skills through targeted professional development, leadership coaching, and purposeful succession planning. We're contracting with a PD provider to provide coaching. One thing we've seen, and this is mainly staff feedback, was an area of growth for our admin team is how to have objective, professional, hard conversations. So that'll be kind of the focus of our admin professional development, as well as we have someone who will give on-demand coaching. So if you're about to have a hard conversation with a staff member or a colleague, getting tips and coaching right before that so that it's most effective. So that's one thing that really stood out as a need of our admin school building team. 3.11, modernize district HR systems and processes to attract, retain, and support a high quality workforce. This was one, if you look at our HR, bless Joe Vieira, some of our paperwork's from like 1996 and just hasn't been updated. Not a lot of structure when we're hiring someone. What's our like foundational composition of a hiring committee? Not just, hey, who's available, but who do we want interviewing and making decisions around this sort of stuff? So just modernizing our HR systems was something that I've heard as a need from staff and from board.
Joel, on that, when we, please, I don't know if it's gonna be a separate goal or maybe a sub goal of 3.11 or 3.11, but. I like to add in like increasing. In a goal into increasing the amount of licensed professional counselors.
Yeah. You want it counselors specific?
Yeah, just because we have so many new or. Non-licensed. So increasing. The amount of
Okay,
professionals that have a full license.
counselor, a specific counselor goal, okay?
Under 3.11, it might be strategic of us to mention that we'd like to reform and streamline and improve the evaluation system.
Yes.
Yes. And how that gets delivered, because
Yeah. This was an area that just kind of mid-year, it was like, ooh, there's some work there, you know, not that anyone wasn't. You know, we've had 3 HR directors probably over the last decade, all awesome, but yeah, just some systems felt a little out of alignment with kind of
It's an
direction.
issue.
Yeah. Okay, we'll work on crafting counselor and then streamlining evaluation system. Coincidentally, in our certified bargaining, we will be forming most likely a work group to look at the evaluation system. So that is very timely. 3.12, maintain strong fiscal stewardship while ensuring an exceptional student experience. That just goes to the current budget deficit that we're seeing across the state of. We need to be fiscally responsive, but also make sure that we're prioritizing our student experience and they're still getting the awesome experience every day. And then 3.13, identify and pursue strategies to reduce purse costs. That's an unchanged one. That, stay tuned, Anna will be giving an update on here a little bit later in the week.
Yeah, like we just got something today about the increase of like 4.5%.
Average across all, yeah, school districts. I just have a start.
Hey, any updates, or comments on the green before we move on?
Not so much of the green, but the whole plan is, we have nothing about our food service program, which is an important component. Do we have no improvements needed?
Well, Tuesday Nacho Day, I'd say, is about crazy. No, I think you're right. We haven't had a board goal around that. We actually, Jen and I set the agenda for August. And we put a nutrition service update on there, so that'd be a great way to kick that off.
Well, just to say to the staff, we see you.
Yeah.
Whenever it is they do.
Well, and that's what I was wondering is, on targeted professional development, and the whole taking, classes, like are classified, they want, job specific skills and, training for all that.
Yeah.
Is there, I know, I don't want to sound goofy, but is there anything for like nutritional services, like?
Oh, definitely. So Jordan Zapita, who I don't think many of you have met, that's why we're bringing him in August. He's planning a 2-day in-service for nutrition services.
Oh,
So,
excellent, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that'll be a good topic to lean into because we haven't in the past.
Great.
And it's typically one of our lower rated items on our family survey. So I think if nothing else, it'll just be good to get that information from the board.
Well, and to their point as well, like, is there anything that they need us to be aware of? Is there anything like, how can we support them better, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they've just been kind of like, child that's been put to the side, like, there's, they're breathing, they're eating, they're doing all the things, but are they thriving?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
So,
like that. For sure. Great call. Anything else on the green box?
3.9.
3.9.
I feel like we need to add something in there that's a physical space, like a facility. Because one of the needs I've heard a lot for behavioral needs is there's no real space. And I know that's at a premium. But I think that should be a priority as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that was one of the themes that I read on the staff survey was these are challenging kids, and when you simply don't have the space, it almost exasperates the situation. So it's hard to it's hard to add, we can't build a center, but a review of the space, looking at options, I know our staff want to hear that, so,
I
yeah.
remember years ago, I think when Cherie Rasmussen was principal, she had a person, dedicated to that. Who basically would take these elementary kids, take them out into the playground and shoot hoops or kick a ball or. And I remember talking to her about it, and she said it was just getting them out of the situation, having somebody.
Yeah.
That can maybe not even talk about it, just, hey, let's go outside, let's go do something.
Yeah, so that's Scott Waite, at Crooked River. He does an amazing job, but yeah, his role is to work, they call it the wellness room. So there's a room they go to, but he does responsive. Yeah, Lord knows, some kids have bad days, right? And just need a breather. So yeah, we still do have that kind of position in some schools.
Yeah, okay.
Next step on this, if you think of anything overnight, shoot me an email. We'll refine this, take your guys' input and bring it back at the August board meeting. With hopefully getting the wording right, make a few more changes and the board can adopt it there.
You need one more thing. We talked at the last meeting about the inconsistency in writing.
Yes.
In the board report, we had a report about the SPAN data. We talked about the inconsistency in the way we apply conventions and structure and logic. And now we have 3 headers, which make absolutely no sense and are not parallel and are illustrative of the problem.
Okay.
You need to go rewrite those headers.
Headers.
Well, I
wanted,
They're just not parallel.
if you,
Gerund next to the adjective, that's ridiculous.
That's exactly what I thought.
thanks for keeping that under wraps.
It went right over.
Yeah. I like it. And I do have, in your Friday note, there were, I think, 4 separate reports. I printed those out, the iReady year-over-year data, the writing strand report. I have those. I know sometimes electronics are, so I printed those out just in case you were interested as well. Read that writing report. That was fascinating and a deeper analysis into our school district's writing than we've ever had. And some encouraging things, some good recommendations, so. Anything else on the board goals before we move on? We are way ahead of schedule. So with that, I've got an activity for you. In addition to the board goals, this covers a lot of the work we do, but Jen and I sit down with Tammy once a month and we set the board agenda. And sometimes we're like, is this enough? Should we add more? What's the board thinking? So here's the thought. We'll take 5 minutes. Are there any additional topics or agenda items you would like to see us start to do, stop doing, or continue to do during our board meetings? So for example, what we're gonna do, it's called a start, stop, continue. So you've got sticky notes and you're gonna say for each idea, you have a single sticky note. I had Bree write start, stop, continue because her handwriting is much more legible than mine. But we'll just take 4 minutes, 1 sticky note per topic, what you're gonna do. So for example, start, if you wanna say, I wanna see more science presentations at the board meeting, or I wanna see student musical performances, or I wanna see more middle school, start doing this, Joel. Stop, what do you wanna stop? If you said, hey, there's too many recognitions, dial it back. Or too many reports from Dr. Hoff. Do you know how many times I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm still talking up here. So what do you want to see stop? And then what do you want to see continue? Student presenters, data reports. So community recognition. So take 4 minutes, think of what you'd like to see stop, start, stop, continue. Put them on sticky notes. So you'll have, I don't know, 5 to 10 sticky notes, and then we'll put them on the board. Any questions?
I feel like I should bow out of this because I'm the one that helps make the agenda.
You're fully in. You're even more in.
Bow out.
So take a, and it gives us a chance to stand up too. So start, stop, continue. You should have sticky notes. 1 idea per sticky note, because then we'll put them up there. Any questions?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, get started. I can have some work music if you'd like.
Yes.
More bangers.
I'm crazy.
I think mine's just to follow.
What's that?
I was just thinking maybe example. Agenda.
Put an example agenda. This was a little too slow.
Take it out. This one's better.
Ring of fire, it's appropriate for what's going on.
You want to have a board when we're done?
Well, we're gonna wait, we're gonna put them all up at the same time. I don't want anyone to influence anyone else.
Here on fire, something about fire.
Oh.
All right, 2 more minutes. Start, stop, continue.
Alright, well, you get 3 notes. That's it.
3 notes.
You did 2 ahead of me.
All 3 are stopped.
Stop. All
Eric,
right, about 1 more minute, 1 more minute.
Eric. Chairs all committees.
Okay, Ring of Fire is done. Why don't you go ahead, you can put your own sticky notes up there.
A little bit excited about it.
Yeah, jumped up there.
Well, he jumped, he rode, he was all over the place.
I'm done. Give me a sign on.
Whoa, the first few, did you look, you guys looking at each other?
Nope.
Look at that. Three.
Holy crap, really?
This does not constitute a board meeting.
Easy.
Okay,
Hold on,
Oh,
wait,
I-
she's got it.
sorry, Kelsey, sorry, Kelsey.
Or, you do better than I did.
There appears to be correct answers.
You said only 3.
Not
Can't take
necessarily.
that.
Yeah. Look at that. I didn't even know that was a big thing for you guys. Voting and
Ridiculous waste of time.
Okay. Yeah.
That was about the only thing I could think of, it was like,
Andy
oh,
did an analysis of it today too.
oh, good.
Do you have good news?
Um,
Can we?
okay, hey. This was more aligned than I
He
thought,
did have
so.
3 stops.
Yeah, like that.
Okay, so what I hear continuing, so I've got recognitions. So we'll keep the recognitions going.
This is like the best news you've gotten all night.
I'll take it.
More
So, and
pictures.
as you guys know, I said this, so every month we think of a staff member, a student and a community member, so, and it really helps structure it, so. We'll continue recognitions, and then I see dashboard. They love the dashboard. That's not even Kelsey.
That was been,
Oh, rushing, okay, so
I like that.
definitely recognition, continue the dashboard, our stop, roll call voting, roll call voting, roll call. So for, let's stop the roll call votings. Stop the meetings a little earlier in general, so we don't wanna meet earlier, right? Or do meet earlier.
No, just shorter meetings, but I couldn't really
Oh,
think of
stop,
anything.
stop. Okay.
I just think that's fast and continue.
Right.
I understood what you said.
Yeah, so we typically shoot for 2 hours and usually we either
So
go
let's
15
make
minutes
it a
early
goal.
or, I like that.
Hour and 50 minutes.
I'm talking as fast as I can.
And then Kelsey,
I already did that roll call, folks.
Kelsey, I like this. Stop rushing through the dashboard, which is good feedback. Because that's one thing, Bree and I are, we're super intentional, we don't want it to be a 2 hour presentation. And if we do, we need to break it out. But it's such important information. So I totally agree with that.
Like,
But-
Scott said the same thing,
Yeah.
you know, like one of our brothers, he's like, this is actually the word
Yeah,
focus on.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now these, there's a little less aligned, consensus, but, what do we want to start? Expand student engagement, so keeping those students, particularly those non-traditional students, keeping them involved. Bond planning updates, that's a really good insight, especially as it kind of goes to more community, what are we doing? So start those. CTE presentations by students, I love that one, really good. More teachers presenting, I like that, I like how you didn't just say, Joel, quit presenting all the time. More teachers, that's the kind way, and then executive summary of the dashboard, that's a really good idea, so, okay.
Because I think it,
Yeah.
like, I see the tension you get to, where you're like, we don't wanna get, but I think if we started the dashboard by like. Cause you and Bree have a perspective of it, of like, this is the, X amount of things that stand out to us as good. Here's what, and then we look at it from that framework, I think it will help center the conversation.
So fun activity, hey, anything we missed, start, stop, continue. Okay. We're like 7 minutes off target, so we're actually doing pretty good. Let's jump forward to operational logistics. So these are just things to have on your radar, things to know as we go into the next school year. This was kind of funny as I was putting together. Board communication expectations for the superintendent. You guys haven't given me expectations for communication, so I'm just saying, here's what we do as the expectation I've given myself. So what you can expect from me. There's always that weekly update emailed by Friday at 6 o'clock with key information. I'll always board members notified by text or phone as soon as possible. Whenever there's a school emergency, you'll hear from me. I usually hear from Jen first because she's listening to the police scan, but school emergencies, if there's a threat, if there's a lockdown, if there's like an evolving issue or like, hey, so you can always expect to hear from me on that. Student emergencies, if there's an ambulance, an injury, an ambulance coming, if there's a evolving issue. Same thing, staff emergencies, you'll always hear from me from a text. And then this one I added, because this happens a lot, where just impactful community events of like, hey, this is stirring on social media just to be aware of, or anything like that. So you can always expect a text or call from me on those. Board packets, Tammy does an awesome job. It's more than 5 days, but your board packets are typically or will be available 5 days in advance. We usually get that unless the printer has broken or something crazy is going on. And then from time to time, we'll have like individual information requests from the board, which are good things like, hey, tell us more about writing data, for example, or break this down. We'll try to get those usually within the week, and we'll put it, even if someone asks for something individually, we'll put that information in that Friday update, so that way every board member has the same information. What else? That's kind of what we currently do. Is there anything I'm missing?
Not of what else, but going back up to your second bullet, I think we need to slow down a little bit in the amount of forming we're doing by text and phone. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's always nice to be in the know,
Yeah.
but honestly, unless it's like an immediate threat to life and safety for certain, I don't need And it takes time for you to contact each one of us individually. You can put it in a BCC and email.
Yeah.
And then we can't reply to all, if it's in the BCC.
Yeah.
And then that would be sufficient. And send one instead of having to send five, for me personally. I mean, there are, if a school's in lockdown.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would like, I don't care if it's email or text, but like, I think, and Eric, you're probably in the same boat, like, you're like around a lot of other parents all the time, and like, it's just nice to know what's going on before somebody starts to yammer,
Yeah.
like.
I do default, so just so my thinking through this, I'd much rather you be aware of something and over communicate than not know, but I do, it actually doesn't take, texting doesn't take, I type it once, usually to Jen, and then I copy and paste it to everyone else.
But I am cognizant that you are being the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, and the communications director, all of which are required in an emergency, and you have to do all three jobs.
I'm actually only 1/4 communicate, you're actually, believe it or not, you have the district's communication directors right here, so, yeah, it isn't that much of a burden. I guess I'd say, emphasize, I'd rather have you know about something and over communicate, but, I might try, depending on the severity issue, more blind copy emails than text, if it's not a emergent, you know, those evolving issues, so. From the board, this is, again, these aren't expectations or normally we made, this is just what we do. We have a monthly check-in. Some of you, it's bi-weekly. I'll meet with you whenever you, I'll meet you every week if you want. But yeah, we each have a monthly check-in, which is nice. And then you guys always, which I so appreciate, you're like, hey, I heard this at the grocery store, or hey, my kid came home and said this. When there is an issue, I appreciate that you guys always give me a heads up. Anything else communication wise from the board that we do? Believe it or not, there's books written about communication between superintendent and school board, and I feel we cover it pretty easy on our own, so.
Yeah, let's not read it.
Hey, here's the annual trainings that we've done, and unfortunately, as Jen size, I feel this list due to our friends at the ODE and OGEC gets longer every year, so you'll have your normal Safe Schools training in August. We try to combine most of these into these online trainings, so you're not having them sporadic through the year. That's where that annual child abuse training will go through, as well as the statement of economic interest. This is very important, and I think you all have been through this at least once or twice. You actually can get fined if you don't fill this out. So that's every April, and Tammy does an amazing job. This Title IX appeals training has come up through the OGEC. So Joe, I think most of you did it through online. Joe has to do an annual refresher. And then I believe, I need to confirm this with Tammy, I believe the mandatory OGEC public meetings training, I think you only have to do it once, but I didn't, in case you hadn't done it, I wanted to make sure that was on there. Some optional things by policy, as our policy committee has gone through every single policy. I read this, so I made sure to put it in. We have to tell you about what PD is available for our board. So the first one though is all our building bridges activities that I really want to encourage you guys to take me up on, and you all already do. We're going to continue school lunches. So if you ever want to join me for a school lunch, classroom walkthroughs, how that kind of organically worked out was, I think we all, with every single board member, we did one in the fall and one in the spring. Definitely going to be getting in classrooms every day. So if you ever want to join, our principals and staff really appreciate seeing you guys in the building. So take me up on that. Ride the bus month, we've talked about, that'll go on. Community events, Kevin always shows up. It is so awesome. We'll continue to do those community building bridges events, as well as jog-a-thons. He's there handing out oranges.
You know, just nothing else to do that day.
And if nothing else,
Go.
we'll get you, particular elementary events. If you've ever had a pack of 100 stickers around elementary kids, it is the most fun experience you will ever have. So, then some formal trainings that the board's welcome to take advantage of. The OSBA annual conference, I believe is November 6th through 8th. OSBA also offers new board member training. That's if you're new to the role, it's something that's worth doing. In the past, we've had our insurance provider provide training on what your coverage is as a board member. Anna is gonna do some PERS training for the board, kind of looping you in to that kind of complex mess. And then Eric, you should tell these people before I volunteer, if you want to do Parent Square. If you don't have a student, if you do have a student, you know all about Parent Square. If you don't, it's a really cool app that we shifted to probably 3 years ago. That's really streamlined all our communication. So if you're interested, that's available as well.
There are some other ones that you did mention. Joel.
Yeah.
There's, the summer OSBA conference. There is since we're members, there's the Community School Boards Association conference that precedes the OSBA, which is different than the OSBA. Yes. I would encourage everybody on this board to go through the bonds and buildings thing at least once, especially if we think about a bond.
Jen, you've done that one, right? Bonds and ballots?
Bonds and ballots, yeah, possible. And then
So yes.
there's annually, you'll get an email and you should consider going to the High Desert ESD legislative meeting where they bring all the legislators in locally to talk to the school boards all at once. It's usually in
It's late.
winter, yeah.
Oh.
No, it's right before. You didn't mix. Yeah, we'll find a date.
It's really, it's helpful to go. I mean, they need to see us, they need to hear us, they need to know we're serious. And then lastly, the National School Boards Association. We have had board members in the past engage with NSBA training.
Tammy and I will keep you guys informed as these trainings come up, and we're happy to help with logistics or anything. But yeah, really, really good. So,
I'll take Kevin that day to do my job, so I
Yeah.
can go and you won't be bored.
okay.
Let me encourage.
We're just jumping through our agenda. So this was carryover from last week's board meeting. We wanted time to think through our committee's proposal. We did it a little different last year. There was some real positive with that, as well as some clunkiness that happened. This was just, again, just a blank proposal to the board. This does keep current board members on the committees they're currently serving on, which as some of the work's kind of in the midst, it might be helpful. So this is completely up to board discussion.
You'll never take me off the meadows function.
So are we dropping the academic and building bridges committees?
Not at all. The idea is with building bridges, that's done through those events in this last slide, that we continue to invite the board to all these options. What happened with the building bridges was by the time we got to spring, I think we canceled the last 2 or 3 meetings because no one could attend. So it's not dropping that work, it's just having it not be through an official board committee.
I think the problem too is that it drew people that were already involved. You know, if somebody's gonna show up for a meeting, they already have a voice versus engaging the larger community,
Yeah.
people who are probably not gonna show up.
And with like we've combined the long range facilities into the connected, safe and stable, which is now connected, safe and thriving. But it got really clunky because in the voting, because some people were part of it was a good idea. It just didn't play out practically. Where it's like our board committees, let's take care of the tasks that we need and then do those other things outside of as a board committee.
There's one other one that's missing, which is the High Desert ESD budget committee. And I'm done with that. Resign.
This one.
I have been on that for probably 10 years. And I miss it half the time because it conflicts with a conference I have in DC. We have to go to. And somebody else is trying to do that.
And the commitment on that is once
Dinner, shut up. and-
once a year for about an hour and a half.
It's not very over us.
And then we do, and I believe this was based on discussion last week. We're saying we don't need a board member on the calendar committee as long as Dr. Van Rokel leads that in a common sense way.
Godspeed, right?
will say on that budget committee, that is the one where one year they announced without warning that they're canceling all drivers and instruction for Crook County.
Mr. Cooper, I remember that well.
Am I around all that? So it's well worth going.
So we would just need, if the board wanted to move forward with this, we would just need someone for the High Desert ESD.
I'll do it.
Thank you, Kelsey.
No, you guys have taken a hit on the bargaining expense.
So dreams.
Tim, do we need a motion to,
Yeah, then the board chair appoints the chair and vice chair of each committee.
okay,
So it seems we need a motion to, for the High Desert ESD Budget Committee, to appoint Kelsey. Do we have a motion for that?
So.
Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Kelsey to the High Desert ESD Budget Committee. We have further discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ms. Tammy, please note that that was 5-0.
I think we might have made a mistake there. We actually get to nominate somebody to the High Desert ESD and ESD board. We didn't actually. Nominate
you could amend your motion and then revote that.
or Tammy can just change who you're nominating to. Oh.
Verbiage. Nominate. Okay. Kelsey.
Because when I said so moved, that's what I meant.
Got it.
But Jamie understands.
I didn't.
Kelsey's the board's representative.
Sorry, sorry.
And then we do need, I think procedurally, Tammy, we need a motion to appoint these board members to these committees. And then in the motion, does Jen say chair, vice chair?
Yes, so the board will appoint those individuals to the committees and then Jen will appoint chair and vice chair. to each of the committees, which the classified survey isn't really a committee, they're just representatives, but for the policy and the meadows.
I move to appoint Scott and Kevin to the policy committee, Jen to represent the board of the classified bargaining team, Scott to represent the board on the certified bargaining team, and Kelsey and Eric to serve on the Meadows Scholarship.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Scott and Kevin to the policy committee. Jen to the classified bargaining as a representative, Scott as a representative to the certified bargaining, and appoint Kelsey and Eric to the Meadows Scholarship. Do we have further discussion?
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Tammy, please note that that was 5-0. Thank you very much.
Go through board chair and vice chair. Does she appoint that officially through promotion?
She just says it.
She just appoints them, it doesn't.
Well, it's absence when we're one, then.
There we go.
So, do I have to,
So I think we're good. Or you just say it now.
Just to say.
You get to declare it. Who's chair and who's vice chair for these committees?
are they listed correctly? Okay. So I appoint.
Don't have two.
I appoint Scott as chair and Kevin vice chair on the policy committee. And I appoint Kelsey as chair and Eric as vice chair on the Meadows Scholarship. Thank you all.
Well, that is spoken.
And our committees are set. Look at us.
Now you have me worried, I'm gonna make a full pot, the last one.
Hey, with that, Tammy is gonna shift from minutes taker to talk to us about Simply.
Yes, I'm excited to share some information about Simply. So I've been doing quite a bit of work, we really wanted a way that we could improve our policy website and offer our policies in multiple languages, something other than just English, like what our existing website provides. Also wanted to provide a way that we can make policy updates much more timely than what we're currently doing. And then lastly, we want to find a way to make the board packets a little less labor intensive. So a big thank you to Eric and his team who did all the legwork to identify Assembly as the program that can help us accomplish these changes. So I just want to share some examples of what things look like tonight. I don't expect you to review it while you're here. Take it home, review it. Please give me feedback. How do you think it looks? Are there things you want to see that are different? We can set up virtual meetings if you want to dive in a little deeper. We can do one-on-ones, phone calls. Just let me know what works for you guys. So the first thing I want to share is a copy of the policies and what they're going to look like. So this would be what a community member would see when they click on a policy. And I think simply, I know they offer over 150 languages. I didn't count how many languages, but the first thing you do at the top is click on the language, the entire website, and all the policies are in that language. So I think it's going to be great for our community members and our families. And I think they look really nice and professional. I think the search feature on the policies work a little bit better and it's going to be a little more user friendly. So I can forward a link. I'll email you guys a link so you can go in and start playing with that and looking at it. It went live in June. And so our plan is to keep the old website up through September 30th, while the new website is live as well. And then after the start of the year, we'll end that old website to help with the transition.
Scott, do the gerunds look okay?
I don't know, maybe, haven't done that yet. The current policy, current format gives a complete history of the revisions. This one only has the last revised and last review. Do we lose that?
We don't lose it. It's maintained in the system.
Maintain
Yep, so we'll have all the records of everything before assembly that we'll have, and then going forward, it's maintained inside the system, which is super handy.
it. Is there any limitation on the legal references in the bottom? Unlimited, how much you can put in?
We can add as many as we want, same thing with footnotes, and those are all live links, so as anyone's reviewing that, they click on that and they can go look at it.
A huge benefit as well is we love our friends at OSBA. However, we have caught issues where we send them what the board has adopted and something different gets uploaded on our website, which is a big deal. So we did a huge audit of that years ago. So this gives the district more direct control of here are the edits from the board. We're uploading those directly. So some real efficiencies in there.
And being able to create those updates within the same week they're adopted versus waiting sometimes months.
Yeah, it's a real, I mean, if you think through the hypothetical issues, like there's a real problem if the board takes an action on a policy and then it's not updated on the website because we're waiting for OSBA for 3 months. If there's an issue relevant to that policy, that can create some real hiccups. So this really helps streamline that as well.
Nice.
Right, I'll email you guys the link tomorrow, so you can start exploring that website.
Thank you.
Thank you. But I also wanted to pass out what the agenda would look like using Assembly for our board packets. So please take these.
Is it gonna make your life easier, Tim?
It is.
Good.
Yeah, there's a lot of efficiencies with this program, so. Yeah, I'm excited. So wait, I don't have my glasses. Oh. Okay.
What's that, we'll say it was not.
Agenda.
I think it's just, there was more, it was just extras.
Great, but it's in this.
This is gonna make it easier for you, faster for you.
Just simple things, like if, gosh, we're setting the agenda, we decide we wanna move this agenda item to next time. You just move it, there's no copy paste. Move it, yeah, sometimes there's some formatting issues to work around, and it's very labor intensive,
Okay.
so. I don't think it looks really professional and nice.
And this will be, this part, does this start with August?
Good question. We were considering starting it in October, but that's, that's open for discussion. If you guys would rather start it at a different time. We were just saying after we get through the start of the school year. October maybe made a little more sense. I'm trying to do it when I'm so busy. But let me know what you think.
I think it's whatever's best for you.
That's fine.
Is there any way, that maybe you could work with Eric on this,
Sure.
that we could identify from the agenda what page in the electronic packet the agenda item corresponds to? Right now, you open up your packet, and you've just got this array of blank pages you can't read. And we're going through the presentation, there's no way to know how to get to it. You're just sort of scrolling and guessing where you're trying to get to. There was a way to link those, would make it easier. And then the other one is, can we, when we scan the Adobe or the PDFs in there, can we rotate the ones that are the opposite direction? Because when I'm trying to sit here and read this, and I do this, and then it flips again, that's almost really tough to do. But if you rotate the pages in advance in the packet, then we can actually, and I know you can do that in an Adobe setting.
Yeah.
Where you run it.
Rotate. I also think that you can. Right, build your digital agenda like a table of contents, that you have on a PDF, so that you can click, you could always go back to the table of contents.
From the table of
And
contents.
click on that agenda item and it'll jump you to
Right.
the page that it's on.
So some way to navigate it
You certainly
more gracefully.
I like my screen just saying.
So just figure out. Screen language thing.
No, that's great feedback. I'll see what I can do about that. Or you can upgrade.
Swipe down from the very left, right, or upper right corner. Swipe down. There's a lot.
Swipe in this way.
It is locked.
But now you have to visit the tournament.
Well, the germs are right.
I'm good whenever,
Okay, perfect.
whenever you wanna begin this.
Okay, last thing I want to do is give you a sample board packet. What I did was took the February board meeting packet and just went ahead and set it up instantly. So the information should be familiar to you. Again, I don't expect you to read it tonight, but take it with you, look through it, and then please give me feedback, things you'd like change. If there's anything you'd like to do different.
Thank you, Leanne. That. I mean, did anything really change for us that use it in the paper forms?
You know, probably one of the biggest changes is the cover sheet you had before in front of an agenda item. You're not gonna see that cover sheet, but what you'll see is another sheet that has that same information on it. So the information's still there. It'll just look a little different.
Okay,
If you like the cover sheets better, that's easy. You can use that in place.
Yeah, so we're thinking they can kind of review the stuff, maybe
Yeah.
in August, we can just set an agenda item, because I think it's also good to publicly say, hey, we're changing to this system or policy website, so that'll give us an opportunity to be very public about changes.
I mean, I think it's gonna make your your day better,
I know, I'm excited.
especially with the whole policy,
Tammy, then you were gonna offer one-on-one trainings if you're
Yeah.
interested.
Yep. In person, we can do it virtual, if you guys wanna dive in, if you wanna see some of the behind the scenes, or wanna see other features. Policy or packet size.
We
Please let me
just
know.
access this through an email link.
It'll get emailed out, just like normal, the normal.
So you just go
Yep.
through Gmail and
Yep, so I'll just email it out, it'll get loaded on your tablets, just like before. Yeah, just please reach out.
And then we also have the idea that we wanted to discuss in the vein of making sure Tammy's life is not crazy. Meeting minutes. So the board, we've had different desires from different school boards. Where previously the board secretary just captured for minutes, hey, here's the general idea, you know, the main topics. The previous board asked Tammy to record every single question that was asked in a board meeting. We just wanted to do a quick check whether that's something that this board continues to want, or whether we go back to what we've done previously.
Every question asked by board members, everybody.
Everybody. Yes.
So we've done both. We just wanted to bring it to this board. Is this is kind of the right time to talk about what you guys want to see in the meeting minutes?
I have zero preference, so.
Yeah. I would like to see every question recorded, because when you get into a legal situation, you sometimes need to prove that you were asking for it. I need an extensive, word for word transcript, but I ask the question.
Yeah.
I was leaning towards record the question, but if there's duplicates or redundancies. With mine that being omitted.
Because the way it looks right now, correct me if I'm wrong, every question that's asked and then every response, I mean verbatim. So you would like every question,
At least the fact that
At least
somebody asked the
the
question.
question was asked, and then, because like it literally, and correct me if I'm wrong, don't you have to go back and listen to all of it and record every word that, that's a whole, I mean, this whole thing is transcripted, basically.
That's too much.
Is what's been transpiring,
Yes.
correct?
Double joy.
That's correct.
Would you just put the video recording into LLM and have the output and the transcript?
We were headed down that road, but then waited because Simply was coming on board, and Simply has a meeting minutes module in it that we thought might do that, but it'll still work, but I'll still have to go back to enter the questions. So it may be time to go back to exploring. using
Look at
AI.
that. I think there's some efficiencies there.
I also would say that at this point, every board meeting is on YouTube. It's not
That's
going
what I'm
away. And then in Simply, you'll be able to have, here's the agenda, here's the publicly available board packet or some other pieces that might be publicly available, and the minutes and the video all encapsulated in one kind of event. You can do that in Simply, so you would think that there's gonna be, always gonna be an opportunity to go back and listen word for word, but
I know Teams has a feature, because I'm used to it in my organization, where you have to train it on people's faces and voices, but once it's up and it's recording, it can do all that transcribing and capture who asked the question and put it in the minute. So you do have to do that pre-training.
Zoom
But you
has the
could
same.
literally take the YouTube, like, if it's put it in an LLM, it will put all the transcript.
We've played around with that in like Notebook LM, where you pull the YouTube link and then you can ask questions like, you know, how long was the meeting, or
Who asked why?
what did we talk about? It's to Scott's point, it's some of that pre-training of like, okay, this voice is this. Cause right, it's just like person one said this, right? So you wanna say,
Sure,
this voice is Scott, this face is Scott,
got it.
and so
That makes sense.
happy to. I mean, I know how much Tammy puts into the work to get every question verbatim. It's worth the effort to find a solution, especially in 2026 with AI that could relieve some of that burden.
Yeah. So I heard keep recording questions for legal reasons. We don't need a transcription of every response. So we'll see what AI tools are on as well.
And obviously, it would still record, the votes. It would still say,
Oh, yeah.
this is who made the motion, who did this, who seconded it, and this is how, that all stays. But the whole literally the transcript would potentially go away. And just go back to the basics of questions. And I mean, I think that in itself would narrow it down quite heavily.
And to Eric's point, we are still posting full, if someone wants to see all the great work that we do, it's on the internet for eternity, so.
All right.
And a big shout out to Tammy, she's done a ton of work to kind of update our assembly and our policy practices, so
Yes.
we're so grateful for her.
Thank you. You bet. I'm excited.
Hey, now we're gonna jump, this is our we're gonna get out of here a little early, this is our last agenda item.
Could be long. PERS rates seem to be one of the most volatile variables that impact our financial health. And so that's why reducing our rates long-term is such an important concept. That's why this board goal specifically talks about, goal 3.13 is identify and pursue strategies to reduce PERS rates. Really the only strategy we have is to try to issue pension bonds. And basically what that does, the concept is you borrow money, you give it to PERS, they invest it, and you hope that that investment, those earnings that come up from that investment will exceed the debt costs.
Do we have to give it the PERS? I did such a.
You have to give it a PERS. I personally don't want to have to try to invest it myself because our investment policy is so restrictive and the state laws about what we can invest in is restrictive, so. And PERS, it has worked out well for us. We being whoever was here at the time at Crook County School District in 2002 and 2003, issued PERS bonds during that time, and over the course of that time, we've saved over $22 million. So it has worked out well, but it is I don't want to say very risky. It is a risky process because you're basically hoping that your investment returns outpace your interest cost. Yeah. And so there is some risk there that could end up not happening. And the school districts that issued PERS bonds in 2007 immediately saw the market crash and lost 27% of their investments, and then they never really recovered. So then they had all this debt that they are still having to continue paying back with no offset. So we have to enter this very carefully. But there is a statewide effort right now to do an analysis. I've been participating in that for Crook County School District. And it's really looking positive. And if we do go down this path, we could potentially reduce our PERS rate. I have no idea how much as early as March of 2027, but probably somewhere between March of 2027 and 2 years after. So we'll have a 2-year window to actually pull the trigger. But leading up to that, the board will need to make some decisions and do a resolution. I would like to have each of you watch a 2-hour webinar. It's a huge ask. You can increase the playback speed if you'd like. But it is something that's very complex. And it's so well done that we could do 5 board meetings and we could have those same people, experts coming in and explaining it. Whereas this 2-hour length that you can watch it on your own time would cover everything. It talks about the resolution that the board would need to adopt and the details about how you would need to make those decisions. What kind of authority do you want to give me? You would say something like, Anna is authorized to go issue PERS bonds between this date and this date, and only if interest rates do not exceed this amount. You can, and the amount that we can issue will be up to X million dollars. So being able to, as a school board, ask the right questions, this will be super helpful for you. And it also talks about the timeline, how all of this will transpire. And so that would really replace having to have those experts come in. So I'll send you the link. After you're done looking at the strand data for writing. You mentioned that take them some time.
Hey, if you want to keep them busy.
But if we do want to kind of try to stay on track for that March to be ready, if the interest rates, if the market looks really good by March, we will need to stay on track with this and have you look at that, watch that video fairly soon.
You have to give me a timeline.
Yeah, we need deadlines.
You have to
When we
say,
our
I need
homework.
this to our video watched by September 1st or
Okay.
whatever the date is.
Okay.
I work. That way I can, you know.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
when I send out the link, I'll give you a timeline in that email. That's it,
Yes, I appreciate that very
I
much.
do as well, so sure that. Okay, any questions on what this is or?
I guess at that point in time also, when you say, okay, Jen, you have till September 1st to watch this video because we need to talk about it in this meeting. Can you have that kind of like spelled out for me? I'm not speaking for the entire board. I'm solely speaking for me in my simple mind. I need to have that timeline.
To know it's an agenda topic on a certain month.
Yes, so that we can make sure that we're very prompt. We've done all of our research. You know, we can ask the questions about what is it, you know, the resolution gonna look like what you just said. How much power do we give, like interest rates and up to whatever. But I haven't necessarily been through that. Have you, Mr. Cooper?
Yes, he does.
Okay. I assumed it, but didn't want to, you know. Anyhow, okay.
My recollection, Pat, Ann and I did a little committee together a couple years ago, and as I recall, help me find them wrong on this, there were three things you needed to think about that could change. One, if you anticipated your district was going to grow in terms of numbers of staff in the near future really fast, this was not a good idea. If you anticipated that your payroll was going to go up really fast because you were going to give big raises or something, that was not going to work out. And if you thought interest rates were going to tank in the near future, that was not going to work out really well. So you had to think not only about the mechanics of it, but also where do you believe some things are going to happen? Which you don't have a lot of objective data to work with. But if you get it wrong, like you said, it will really hurt you. If you get it right, it will save you. So it's a big decision. You should watch the video. Right?
That was in 2021 when we last did this analysis, and the board at that time appointed Scott to kind of be board representative, I think I would describe that. And so Scott actually sat through all the webinars and all the meetings and everything with me. And at that time, they did an assessment. They have a special company, Eco Northwest, who does an assessment. They call it a can't remember what it's called. Monte Carlo,
I think that's right.
where they do
Monte Carlo simulation.
10,000 simulations, and that's not a, yeah, they actually do 10,000. It's not a, just a exaggeration. And so within that 10,000 simulations of what will happen, then they can kind of narrow down a probability for success. And in 2021, when we looked at it, they said that there would be an 86% chance that if you issue PERS bonds, you will basically be successful, to where you will either have saved money or broke even. At that time, those borrowers that went ahead actually secured a 2.47 interest rate, which is like one of the lowest ones. So, but we were afraid at that time that our payroll was going to grow too fast. And we were afraid that the market was going to tank, because that was the general consensus around of people at the time, is that things were going down real fast. This time, the Monte Carlo process says that it's a 95% chance of success, even though interest rates at this time are between 4 and 5%. And they said also that when the market dropped so severely in 2008, there really hasn't been another time in history where it's dropped that severely.
Except 1929.
Exactly. That's the only other time. So, those are just things to know, and they'll talk about, you'll see all that on.
You can also refi the first bonds down the road, can't you?
If you issue them to where they can be refunded, you can. I think that impacts the
Interest rate,
interest, the investor
the premium.
interest in you, basically, whether they want to buy it or not. But we have experts handle all that stuff for us. Okay.
Thank you. Should be looking for a link and a deadline from Ann Logan. Hey, with that, that is our annual board. I need a quick holiday retreat, a work session. Any questions? Anything lingering? Next steps, we'll bring a draft, an updated draft of the board goals to our August meeting. If you have any other thoughts in the meantime, don't hesitate to shoot them my way.
It's so shy.
I did, Leah, if anyone has closing sentiments. I didn't, Jen? Well, good. Well, thank you guys. We truly are on a good path with good momentum, and we'll keep going in that direction. With that, I'll turn over to the board chair.
Okay, does anybody have anything further? Not, okay, all right. Well, folks, it is 7:36.
Wow.
We are gonna adjourn our board session, retreat, work session.
There we go.